Hey y'all, it's Megan and I make videos about things. Sometimes I talk about stuff, and today I'm going to give you some tips on if you want to move out and how you can get your own place. Before I get started, like, comment, share, subscribe, or else. Okay, so the first tip that I have for you if you want to get your own place is to save at least $3,000 to $4,000 because the cost of living is increasing constantly. So you need to have money set aside specifically for moving. Like you can't just have $4,000 total to your name. Like aside from your regular spending money, you have to have at least $4,000, no less than $3,000 saved up if you want to move. Because a lot of times whenever we are looking for apartments, we're just worried about like the first month's rent. But honestly, the first month is the most expensive month because you have to pay for rent insurance. If you're paying for movers, like you have to be able to afford that, household appliances, the deposit. There's a lot of extra expenses that goes into the first month, really the first couple of months whenever you first move out. So you can't just have enough saved up to cover that first month's rent. Like you want enough cushion to be able to move and stay there. Obviously, the amount that you save up depends on the cost of living wherever you're at, but you need like a few $1,000s saved up for that move. I feel like if I can do it, anybody can do it because I am living on a single person income, but I was able to afford a pretty decent apartment in a pretty decent area. So I genuinely believe that if I can do it, anyone can do it because I am not rich by far. Like pretty low income / poor, but I was able to afford an apartment for myself. And obviously, like living by yourself, the expenses is a lot, especially if you're just on one person's income, but it's definitely worth it, like for the peace of mind. Tip number 2, location. You have to base the apartment that you get off of the location that you want it to be at. You might want to live to some place that's close to the mall, or that might be off of the interstate. You want to live next to a gym. It just depends on whatever is the priority for you. So I wanted to get an apartment that was in a decent radius to my job because I have had to commute 45 minutes before, and that is not fun. And luckily for me, the apartment that I got is really, really close to work. So that's extremely convenient. Tip number 3, whenever you are trying to move out, you can take your time buying furniture. You do not have to move into an apartment fully furnished. Like it doesn't have to be move-in ready the week that you move in. Whenever I moved out, I was like, I just need somewhere to sit and somewhere to sleep. So whenever I move in, as long as I have like a couch or seating area and my bed, then I'm good for like that first month or week living there. And then like I can slowly furnish the place as time goes on. I didn't have a rug for months and months. And then after I got a rug, I didn't get a coffee table for a few more months. So it's like you just have to piece by piece put it together. Take your time buying furniture. Take your time buying decor. Like you're going to be there for a while, so you have time to like have it move in ready. And like I said, if your budget is an issue, like you don't even need to be worried about buying a bunch of furniture anyway. So like there's time for that. Also, if you just like set a little bit of money aside from each paycheck little by little, like you'll slowly be able to afford those things. Plus, before I moved out, like months before I even found an apartment, I was already buying stuff like for my apartment. So by the time I moved in, I already had cookware, I already had some decorations to hang up, I already had a comforter set. Like if you just slowly build up the things that you need for your apartment by the time you move in, like it will be decent, and it probably wouldn't be like, move in ready or fully furnished, or at least to the point where you're able to host stuff for a few months, and that's okay. Tip number 4, don't listen to people. Matter of fact, don't share plans with anyone when you're doing anything. This is something that I had to learn the hard way, okay? Because whenever I was telling people that I wanted to get my own place and that I didn't want to have a roommate, like nobody understood what I was talking about. I don't know why living alone is such a strange concept to the people that I know, but like nobody really got it. Nobody really understood that. They thought that I was too young. They thought that I wouldn't be ready. They thought that I would regret like not having a roommate and having to pay all these bills by myself. And the thing is, like, I'm aware of the financial convenience that having a roommate has. Like, obviously, living alone and paying rent and paying bills completely by yourself is very difficult because like your bills eat up all your money. Like, I get it, it's hard, but for me personally, I just wanted to live by myself, and that's just what I was going to do. Like, I mean, definitely if your main priority is the cost of living and you don't mind living with other people, then live with other people. Like, if you have that option, if there's someone that you know that's also looking for a place, like, that would be my recommendation. Like, get a roommate, live with one or two other people so that you can split the rent, and then your expenses is like half the cost. But if you prefer to live alone, then live alone. Like, I lived with my family for 25 years. I think that's more than enough time to realize that like it's time to be by myself. That was just my mentality whenever I moved out. If that is your mentality, then that's fine. Like, it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. Like, you don't have to listen to people. Obviously, like, take advice from somebody if they've done what you're trying to do. Like, maybe you can get advice for somebody on different apartments to look at, or like, you know, how much you need to save up, or the different type of apartment styles that you might be interested in. Like, it's okay to take tips and pointers here and there, but like, don't like allow people to tell you what to do, because if I would have listened to people, I would still be living in the guest bedroom in my mom's house. And I would actually rather be poor in my own place. I have my own space. I have my own privacy. I can come and go as I please without anybody in my business. I can control who is in here. I don't have to worry about like being in someone else's space or someone being in my space. I can control everything that happens in here. Like, I have control over every circumstance within these walls. And that is worth any price. So I get it. Like, living on your own is very expensive compared to like having roommates or staying at home and saving money, because that is very true. But if that's like the price that you're willing to pay, then so be it. Like, the peace of mind that I have having my own place is it has no worth. It's invaluable. That's the word I was thinking of. The last tip that I have for you is to use your imagination. Whenever you're looking around for apartments and you're apartment hunting, you don't have to see the place as it is, because once you move in, like, that's gonna be your space. So you don't have to focus on little things like, oh, they have a crappy parking lot, or I just don't like the floors that they're using, because once you move in, like, it's gonna be your space. Whenever I was apartment hunting, I was picturing myself living there. You just have to picture yourself there. Like, that's it. You don't have to take it like as face value and just think of all of the bad things in the apartment and stuff like that, because a lot of apartments that are affordable, like for a lot of people's first apartments, like, it might not be the most aesthetically pleasing, but you can always make it your own. So you have to use your imagination. You have to imagine how you are going to make that space like reflect your personality. Whenever I first moved into my apartment, it looked totally different. And now it's extremely personal to me. And over time, I've watched it slowly transform into my place. And it just feels like home. Like, it is very comfortable. It looks exactly the way that I want it to look. And it's all because I was able to imagine certain things. And I just had plans for this place. And I just saw it come to fruition. So that's very rewarding. And like I said, this is a process that takes months of planning, months of saving. As a matter of fact, I first was looking at this place for probably a year before I actually moved. Like, I first found it, then I had to scope it out and look at reviews and see how much I would need to save. I was looking at the different floor plans. I took a tour. I was putting money aside for months and months and months. Like, from the time that I actually found this place to the time that I moved in was like at least a year. So that's just kind of a little bit of perspective. Like, if you want to get your own place, realistically speaking, you just need the patience to be able to save up this kind of money. You need the patience to be able to find the perfect location. You need to use discernment on who you are and are not taking advice from if you want to move out in your own place. If you would just rather not have anybody's opinion, like, literally don't tell anybody until you move. And you can't be obsessed with this idea of like having the perfect place. Like, the place is not going to be perfect. You might have a list of stuff that you need whenever you're moving into this apartment, but like, there's gonna be some stuff that you have to sacrifice or compromise. Like, you kind of win some, you lose some. Like, unless you have millions of dollars that are disposable to you, like, you kind of have to get what you can get. I've just always wanted my own place, and I'm glad that this is my reality now. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I had to really figure out before I got to this point, and I'm about to sign my third lease, so it's been working so far. And I hope you found this video helpful. If you are looking to get your own place and you want to move out within the next year or two, take these tips into account. And before I go, I just wanted to remind you to exercise your mind, body, and soul so you can be stronger.